mode.
On behalf of RBCS, RBCS New Zealand, RBCS Australia, and Software Test Works, we welcome everyone today to this webinar on the future of test management. I am Rex Black, President of RBCS, a worldwide testing and quality assurance firm serving clients ranging from small startups to Fortune 20 global enterprises. Since 1994, RBCS has been both a pioneer and leader in quality hardware and software testing. RBCS has offices in the United States, New Zealand, Australia, and Sri Lanka, with partners around the world. RBCS delivers insight and confidence to our clients, helping them get quality software and hardware products to market on time and with measurable return on investment. RBCS has a team of international consultants that deliver customized training, consulting, and outsourcing services for companies that are looking to improve their test and quality assurance practices. RBCS has helped hundreds of companies reduce development and support costs while assuring the best quality products are delivered to their customers. I'm the author of Pragmatic Software Testing, Advanced Software Testing Volumes 1 and 2, Foundations of Software Testing, Critical Testing Processes, and Managing the Testing Process. I hold a degree in Computer Science and Engineering from UCLA. I'm also past president of the International Software Testing Qualifications Board and the American Software Testing Qualifications Board. Now, before we start the presentation, a couple housekeeping notes. If you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please feel free to submit them throughout the presentation via your webinar interface. There's a facility there for asking questions. And there's no need to ask for presentation copies, as the presentation is on the web on the basic library page at www.rbcs-us.com. If you're having any problems with either the audio or visual components of this webinar, please contact GoToWebinar support. And if for whatever reason you cannot get to the webinar online, or if you're dealing with an unreliable connection, please download the slides. As I said, they're on the basic library at www.rbcs-us.com. And be sure to use the telephone to connect rather than voice over IP. Now, I have to say we haven't heard anybody say that that's not working, so I assume that you'll have no trouble listening over voice over IP if that's how you're doing it now. Okay, so on with the show. Today's presentation is on the future of test management, as you can see. Now, in our work with clients around the world in consulting, training, and outsourcing, I get a chance to see a lot of emerging trends in testing and quality and software and systems development in general. And this talk is based on those trends. On this presentation, I'll outline the trend, discuss its testing implications, and offer a few tips on how we might respond to it as test managers. Okay. So, start off with a humorous quote from our friend Yogi Berra, former baseball coach, but more importantly, for our purposes, a man prone to say things that sounded simultaneously profound and silly, and this is a classic example of that. It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future, he said. What else do you make predictions about? But yeah, it is kind of risky, and I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit and make some predictions, make some prognostications, if you will, about what's going to happen over the next 10 years as we move into 2010 and proceed through the next decade. Specifically, again, focused on the challenges that the future holds for us as test managers, rather than, say, amateur chefs or something like that. And we'll look at some issues related to test tools and test automation, how those can perhaps help us with our challenges that are arising. Just as importantly, I think actually more importantly, we'll talk about skills, and I encourage you guys to ask questions about this at the end of skills growth and what skills we need as test managers, what skills our testers need. And as someone who's written a couple books on test process, specifically talking about process, and you can imagine that there are some process implications that are, I think, interesting. And so we'll look at that and see if we can make some conclusions on these areas. Okay. Now, let's start with, let's start at the beginning, start at the top, start with what's most important. The challenge of and the imperative of connecting what we do to business value. I have said on a few occasions and written on a few occasions that there's a sort of a management aphorism that what gets valued gets funded. And conversely, that which is not seen as having value is not funded. Now, this is a major issue for us in testing. I mean, when we do assessments, one of the things that we see a lot is, well, for one thing, there's a gap between the potential value being delivered by the test team and the actual value being delivered by the test team. Those are just weaknesses in the testing process or the testing team's skills or the resources available or whatever. But for whatever reason, the organization is not receiving all of the value that it could receive from its test team. And that's in many ways an internal challenge for the test team to get better, as well as to perhaps resolve some upstream process issues that interfere with the value that you can get from testing. But the bigger issue for this slide is the gap between the perceived value of testing and what's actually being delivered and what potentially could be delivered. The gap between the perceived value and the potential value is, of course, a source of disappointment for people outside the test team looking in. And that's a problem because that's, failure to meet expectations is going to result in a variety of political issues for the test manager. Political, I mean organizational dynamics. And you need to resolve that. So all three of those things: the potential value of testing, the actual value of testing, and the perceived value of testing need to be properly aligned. If they are not, then then there are problems. Those should all be the same thing. So if we want to have what are often expensive test environments, environments that replicate production, we need to be able to measure the value of that. What is the return on investment? If we want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, as can easily be done, on tools and the people necessary to utilize those tools properly with proper skills, then again we need to be able to measure the value of that. What is the return on the test tool / test automation investment? Skills and skills growth. If we're going to try to increase the value of our team and increase the skills of our team so that they increase the value they can deliver, that's going to require some investment in that, an investment in training, investment in cross-training type of things, where we have people swap jobs, as it were, and work with the mentorship of the more senior person, and the junior person thus learns the task. There's a cost to doing that, and we're going to incur these costs, and you don't want to incur them on the blind faith that if we have a better skilled team, it's necessarily going to be better. It's going to deliver more value. I mean, that's true, but can we measure that so that we can actually get funding for sufficient skills growth? And key process indicators. I just finished work on a book that I contributed to with a number of other people called Beautiful Testing, and it's talking about things that make testing beautiful. And my particular chapter in that book, which should be out any day now really, is about how beautiful testing should satisfy the stakeholders. And one of the key points that I made